Custer fought with abandon and was one of the most successful cavalry commanders of the Civil War. He had a remarkable talent for war, but it was a career he was thrust into because of the times in which he lived. Custer had an artistic temperament, and as such was drawn to creative endeavors like writing and performing. Those talents drew him to fields such as education, journalism, entertainment, and politics. Custer's first professional job was school teacher, and he quit to attend West Point, mainly to get an education. While he was in the Army, he wrote a book and numerous magazine and newspaper articles, and at the time of his death he was writing another book and planning a speaking tour. While Custer never ran for office, he spoke at a political convention and went on a campaign tour with President Andrew Johnson. Had he survived his last battle, he might well have retired from the U.S. Army to pursue a career in one or more of these areas. In addition to a writing career, he could have given lectures like Mark Twain or performed in shows like Buffalo Bill Cody. All of this is not to say Custer hated the Army or was a reluctant soldier. He was a true Jacksonian Democrat who loved America and believed in the causes to which he devoted his life, the preservation of the Union and the expansion of the country across the continent. He also enjoyed the excitement and the pageantry and fame that his great martial success won for him. But his creative side chafed at regulation and conformity. Like a novelist who resists editing, Custer at times resisted the orders of his superiors, preferring to write his life story his way. On the way to his last stand at the Little Bighorn in 1876, Custer famously refused the offer of additional troops, in part because he wanted his regiment, the 7th Cavalry, to get sole credit for the great victory that he and everyone involved anticipated. His shocking defeat and death, along with that of every man under his direct command, was huge news for a month or so, but was then eclipsed by the presidential election and other concerns. As those concerns have passed away, who but a historian remembers the contenders in the 1876 election, Custer's name remains ever current. MIT researchers who developed a tool to measure the fame of historical figures from 4000 BC to 2010 ranked Custer as the 91st most famous military figure in the history of the world. In the top 100, headed by Alexander the Great, and including such varied leaders as Spartacus, Horatio Nelson, and Erwin Rommel, only one of Custer's contemporaries is listed, Robert E. Lee, at number 90. In a list of only the most famous American military figures, Custer is ranked 4th, behind Lee and World War II heroes Douglas MacArthur and George S. Patton. Of Custer's peers, William Tecumseh Sherman, at number 9, is the only man besides Lee in the top 10 famous American military figures. Why did Custer so capture the imagination? This biography suggests one answer by looking at Custer not as a born soldier predestined to military glory, but as a man who had the soul of an artist, who viewed life as a romantic journey. The journey ended in a battle that on its own is quite interesting, but would never have become so famous had it not been for the death of its star player. Custer's artistic sensibility compelled him to create a life story that has fascinated both historians and the public for generations, a story that ends with a battle that has become a central part of the myth called variously the American frontier, the Wild West, or simply the West.